everybody, happy spring. I am so excited that winter is finally over. Fortunately, compared to like the last couple of years, this winter's actually been pretty tame, but I am totally ready for all things spring. So to get this season started off on the right foot, I thought I would create a fun little look for you guys using all affordable products. So everything in this video, including the brushes that I use, are all affordable, drugstore. It should be easy for anybody to get their hands on. So for this look, I wanted to play off of a couple of my favorite spring colors, which are like lilac, purple, and pink. So I did like a really fun, super glittery looking lilac eye and a pink lip. And hopefully you guys like this tutorial, find some fun inspiration from it. And before I keep rambling, let's get into it. Alright, so I'm going to start out by priming my face with this new primer from Milani. And this is the Prime Shield Primer, and it is pore minimizing and mattifying. And this primer reminds me a lot of the Smashbox Photo Finish Primer, so if that's something you've tried before, this is a great sort of budget alternative to that. It's got a similar sort of silicone-y, slippery feel that's going to really do a good job of filling in fine lines and pores. So next I'm going to put on my foundation. I'm going to be using another Milani product, and this is also a new launch of theirs, and it's the Conceal and Perfect Foundation, and I use shade number 01, which is Creamy Vanilla, and this is a very yellow undertone and is maybe even just a hair too dark on me, which means that if you're very, very pale, this foundation range may be way too dark for you, which is a shame because I really like the finish. This gives you a really nice satiny sort of finish, and it really makes the skin look flawless while still being natural. It's not like too matte and it's not too dewy. So I'm basically just gonna, as you can see, dot this onto my face and rub it in with my fingers a little bit. And then I'm going to blend it in with my new cosmetic sponge that I just got from BH Cosmetics. So I'm just testing this out, wanted to see how it compared to the Beauty Blender. And so far, I think it does a pretty good job. Once it's dampened, it is humongous. So you can get a lot of surface area covered in a very short amount of time with this sponge. It feels a little bit denser than the Beauty Blender does, but I think that it still gets the job done pretty much the same way and is about half the price. I think this is $10 normally, but there are always sales going on at BH Cosmetics, so it's very easy to get this sponge at a discounted rate. So next I'm going to go in with my concealer, and I'm using the NYX HD Concealer. I think this is shade CW04, and this is a very creamy concealer. I have not tried the Naked Skin Concealer before, but I've heard that these are similar in texture. So I'm just going to apply this under my eyes and around my nose, because that's where I get the most redness. And then I'm going to buff it in with my e.l.f. Flawless Concealer brush. So next I'm going to set everything down with some powder. I'm going to be using the Maybelline Fit Me Matte and Poreless Pressed Powder. I'm the shade Classic Ivory number 120. So I'm just going to use an e.l.f. Flawless Complexion brush to dust on some of the product to my face. I basically just like to pat it in, and this sort of keeps the foundation in place and mattifies things a little bit because my skin is super, super oily. And it's also important to make sure you set the concealer underneath your eyes. So for this, I like to take the extra concealer off of my Flawless Concealer brush and just use it to pick up a little bit of the powder, and then use that same brush to set underneath my eyes and around my nose and in any tight corners. So next I'm going to add a little bit of a flush to my cheeks with this really pretty pink blush from Physicians Formula. This is their Nude Wear blush, I believe in the shade Nude Glow, but I will definitely get the exact name and put it in the down bar for you guys. And this is a very subtle blush. It would look really nice on fair skin complexions, maybe up to a medium skin tone, but it might not show up on a very deep skin tone because it is quite a soft color. But I really like this for spring because I think it adds just a nice little wash of color to the cheeks, and it doesn't look too overdone. So next I'm going to fill in my brows, and I have been obsessed with this new L'Oreal Brow Stylist Definer. It's basically taken the place of my Anastasia Brow Wiz in my everyday brow routine. And so what I'm going to do is comb through my brows with a spoolie end just to kind of get the hairs facing upward, and then I'm going to go in with the pencil end and start filling everything in. And what I've noticed for my brows is that they're very sparse and kind of wonky on top, so I like to make sure that the lines along the top of my brow are actually really defined and filled in rather than starting from the bottom, because I found that when I start from the bottom, I used to make my brows look like weirdly thin, I used to make my brows look weirdly too thick on the bottom. So I think that it just looks a little bit more natural when I actually create the shape from the top first. And then I'm going to go back in with the spoolie after I have applied all of the color, just to sort of smooth everything out and even the finish. So once my brows are done, I like to sort of clean up and highlight the area on my brow bone using my L'Oreal Magic Lumi Concealer Highlighter Pen. And this is just a really nifty product to have. The brush tip makes it so easy to glide the product right on. So I'll basically glide it on directly from the brush and then tap it in with my fingers to blend. So now let's move on to eyes. I'm gonna start out by using my Makeup Academy Smokey eyeshadow palette. This is one of my favorites from the drugstore. I feel like Makeup Academy doesn't get a lot of hype because it's a relatively new brand to the United States. So I'm gonna use this sort of neutral brown shade in the palette to basically create a little bit of a transition in the crease. It's not too dark, it'll just help all the other eyeshadows we put on later blend out better. And I'm going to apply this with a Sonia Kashuk blending brush. So next I'm going to go in with these new Maybelline Color Tattoo concentrated crayons. These are basically like the color tattoos in a pots, except they're in a stick version, which is really handy to use. And this is the shade Lavish Lavender, which has got like a really intense glittery metallic sort of finish. So I'm basically just going to apply this directly to my eye and then blend it in with my finger. You may want to keep a makeup wipe handy because this gets a little bit messy when you're on your hands, and you may want to be able to wipe them off as you go. So next I'm going to go back in with the Makeup Academy palette, and I'm going to use this really sort of light frosty pink shade, and I'm just going to take a flat stiff e.l.f. brush and pack this color right onto the inner third of the lid, and this will just add a little bit of brightness and some highlight. Now I'm going to go back with that same neutral brown shade and my crease brush and just sort of fluff everything out again, and this just sort of blends out the edge of the color that I applied with the Color Tattoo crayon so everything looks even. So this next product I'm going to go in with is a fun one. This is the Fierce Foil eyeshadow quad from Milani, and I picked these up a while ago, but I honestly really haven't used them that much, so I wanted to yoink them out for this tutorial because this purple quad is really perfect for spring. So I'm going to go in with the really bright lilac shade in this quad, and there's actually, at first I thought the applicator that came with this was a sponge tip, but it's not. It's like a little rubber spatula, and honestly I think this is the best tool to apply this type of product. I've tried it with my fingers, it just makes a mess. I've tried it with a brush, and I don't feel like a brush, even like a stiff synthetic one, picks up a lot of product. But this little rubber spatula thing works really good. So I'm just going to slap some product on there, and basically I'm going to press it onto the lid. And you want to keep it pretty low, like right along the lashes. Then I'm going to go in with the really, really bright purple shade, and I am just going to pack this onto the very outer edges of the lid. So like the very outer third in the corner. And this will just add a little bit of depth and dimension. And once again, I'm going to sort of pat this and blend it towards the middle of the eye just to create a little bit of a transition. Then I'm going to go back in with the Color Tattoo crayon, and I'm going to apply this along my lower lash line, and this will just sort of pull the whole eye look together a little bit. Next I'm going to go in with my eyeliner, and I'm going to be using the L'Oreal Infallible Gel Eyeliner. This one is seriously amazing. It rivals pretty much any prestige brand in terms of their gel eyeliners. It's super, super black. It's really creamy and easy to apply. And if you're relatively new to the concept of doing a winged liner, I think it's actually easier to use than like a pen or straight up liquid liner. So I'm going to apply this using my e.l.f. angled eyeliner brush because I find that this is the easiest brush to use to create a wing. And I'm going to start basically from the outside corner and work my way in, just lining tightly along the lash line, blending as I go, and then I'll create the wing and sort of blend it in to the rest of the liner. Trust, I was riding the struggle bus so hard trying to do this eyeliner. I feel like it took me forever and I could not get my wings even. So trust, even if you know, someone like me who's done this a million times, it's still not easy. So if you're somebody who is relatively new to the whole eyeliner scene, do not stress if your wings are not perfectly even. It takes so much time and practice, and even then sometimes you just don't get it right. So once my eyeliner is on, I'm gonna go in with my mascara, and of course I'm gonna be using my Maybelline Lash Sensational, which is pretty much my most favorite drugstore mascara on the face of the planet. And I'm just going to run this through my lashes, wiggling at the base and pulling up to the tip, and that will just create a lot of extra volume at the root of the lashes. And don't forget to get those bottom lashes too, just so that way everything looks even from top and bottom. So last thing I'm going to do is add some color to my lips. I'm going to start off by lining with this Milani lip liner in the shade Nude, and this will just sort of help to prevent any bleeding and feathering and help me to define the lip line a little bit more than I would with the lipstick that I'm putting on top. Then I'm gonna go in with this Revlon Color Burst Matte Lip Balm. This is a really fun, pretty pink shade, and these have a surprising amount of pigmentation and a really nice, fresh, sort of minty scent to them. And then just to give my lips a little bit of a juicy, glossy finish, I'm gonna go in with the NYX Butter Gloss in the shade Creme Brulee, and I'm just going to apply that to the middle of my lip and sort of blend them together, and this makes your lips look a lot fuller and juicier. And then to finish everything off, I'm just going to spritz my entire face with my L'Oreal Infallible Setting Spray. I absolutely love this stuff, and it will take away any of the powderiness in your makeup if it's looking just a teeny bit cakey. This makes everything look more natural, and it will keep it locked in place for the entire day. And that is it. This is the final look. I hope you guys liked it. I hope you found this tutorial helpful. And if you have any questions or comments, definitely post them down below, and I will see you in the next one. So this is what this month's Birchbox looks like. I really like the pattern on this. It's got like a gold foil detail, and it